One thing that I've noticed is that um, I've noticed a lot of mulatto men go for these Latino girls. And it's not even the darker skinned Latino girls. Cause that I don't really have a problem with that, really. I never really have. It doesn't really bother me. Okay. But when it's these obviously undercover racist Latina girls that go for these black guys, they really don't like black females, but then they go for black men. My question to them is, why not just marry men from your own community? What is it that black men have that Latino men don't? Because Latino men act just like black men. They dress just like them. They dance just like them in a lot of ways. They rap. There's a lot of Latino rappers. They act just as ghetto. They both are almost identical in behavioral patterns. Both got prison records. The whole thing. Okay. Latino men are practically light-skinned black men. That's practically what they are. Okay. Because they dwell in the house of Shem. Okay. So basically anything black men do, Latino men adopt. And so why would Latino girls need to leave Latino men behind to get with black men? I don't get it. Is it just the melanin? Is that it? Or you can't sit here and say it's the sex, because I don't really I've never really sexually been with a Latino guy. I've been with Indian guys, though, before. Really, there's not that much of a difference, I don't think. To me, sex is sex. So what is it about black men that Latino men don't have? This is what I would like to know. And my thoughts on this, I just kind of feel like Latino women go wherever they think the money is. So if they think they can financially get with a man in the black community, she knows that he's going to see her as more of a trophy. Then her chances are higher of getting that black man before a woman in his own community can. Because again, I've noticed at some of the jobs that I've been at here recently within the last 7 years or so, if a black man is in a job and he has a pretty high position, like if he's the CEO or the manager or even a supervisor, if he's in any kind of position where he's making a lot of money, I've noticed white and Hispanic women will go after that man in droves. And I guess they do this because they feel like because they're not black, their chances of getting that black man are a lot higher than a black woman getting that black man. And the sad part about that is that it's true. Black men will sit up here and give this excuse, oh, well, I grew up in a neighborhood that just didn't have that many black girls around, so I dated who was ever available. That's a goddamn lie. I have grown up in neighborhoods that have been predominantly white and Hispanic, and I've noticed black women will go out of their way to find black men. Why isn't it that way the other way around? Black men just settle for whoever they can get, whereas black women will go to other neighborhoods to find black men. I've seen them even move to other states just to be able to get the chance at finding a black man who is marriage potential. Okay, black women will find ways to find their people. How come black men don't do that? This is a question that's directed to black men out there. How come you won't move to neighborhoods where there are more black women available if there's not enough black women to choose from in the area which you presently preside? Why don't you move to a place where there's a lot more? Isn't that what Asian men do? Isn't that what Arabian men do? But black men just marry who's ever there conveniently. That's the excuse they give. Oh, well, there's only a handful, and I just didn't really like the selection that I had, so I married whoever I got along with and who I liked. Or was it just because they weren't black and they gave you the opportunity to be with them because they are a reject in their own community? Is that really what this amounts to? You know, one thing I've noticed is that a lot of mulatto men are married to Latino women. So what happened with mulatto women? How come mulatto men don't go for mulatto women? And don't sit here and say, oh, well, it's because they wear the fake hair or they're overweight, they're too ghetto, because that ain't it. They got the hair. They're mixed race, remember? They have the slender bodies. They're mixed race now, remember? So not all of them got the hair and the slender bodies, but 9 out of 10 of them do. And they're everywhere. Mulatto girls are everywhere. So how come a lot of them are not marrying mulatto men? Don't tell me that they're not attracted to them, because I don't believe that for a minute. Why are so many mulatto men marrying Latina women over mulatto women? How come? Mulatto women are light-skinned. A lot of them have very nice hair. They have a lot of their shapes they have different shapes. Some of them are big-breasted. Some of them have the bigger bottoms. Some of them have bodies like Latina women. So why is it that mulatto men are not marrying mulatto women? How come mulatto men are overlooking mulatto women and automatically going for Latina women? Because a lot of them don't go for white women because white women are more attracted to darker men. So they go for the original black man, right? The dark-skinned black man, leaving the mixed race men going for, I guess, Latina women. So you see how this is working? Dark-skinned black woman doesn't get black men. Black man goes for a white woman. Mixed race woman doesn't get mulatto man because mulatto men are going for Hispanic women. So you see how it's eventually going to breed you out? Do you see what's happening? 9 out of 10 mulatto men that I know are married to white-skinned Latino women. They won't even look twice at a mulatto girl. You know what the excuse is that they give mulatto females? Oh, well, she reminds me of my sister. She reminds me of a family member. I can't see myself with mulatto girls because she seems like a relative, someone. She seems more like someone that I would be related to. She seems more like a cousin to me. So I can't date people who remind me of family members. That's why I go for Latino girls. You know how many times I've heard that? So now that these black women are now mulatto women, because of the self-hatred of black men. Okay, so now we got all these mulatto women running around because black men created them. Now mulatto women are not good enough. Because now the excuse is that they are reminding black mulatto men of relatives. So you see how this is going to eventually breed back into whiteness? So, yeah, black men, you've created more black people for one generation. Because most mulattoes marry back into the non-black races. And then the next thing you know, you're bred out. One of my best friends she's a quarter Mexican and the rest of her is black. Okay, so she's a little bit, let's see, she's about 3/4 black and a quarter Mexican. Her son, she has a baby, a son with this black man. Her son then turns around, marries a Latino woman, and those kids look 100% Mexican. There's no trace of black blood anywhere. And she's only a quarter Mexican. Not half, a quarter. So you don't even have to breed yourself out for one generation. You can breed back into the black race being only a quarter black, not even half black, and still completely erase your genes, because that your son may grow up to marry one of these non-black women, and that still completely erases your bloodline. Her grandchild looks 100% Latino, and her son is only he's an eighth Mexican. So you see how quick your bloodline can be erased? All this race mixing, and because see, black people are already mixed from the slavery days. Most black people have at least 12 to 15% European blood if their bloodline is only mixed from the slavery era. Then their chances of mixed blood are anywhere from 10 to 15% if it's coming from the slavery era. If it's coming from a biracial person somewhere in their family line, a lot of them are in the quarter range of non-black with the ancestry results. Anything a quarter into 50% and 75%, your child breeds back into these non-black races, and your chances of being erased are almost 100%. Even a quarter, even 1/8 mixed bloodline of non-black, if they breed back into the white race, your child's black DNA can be completely erased. Even if you're only an eighth black, because that's what happened with my friend's son. So it don't take much to erase your bloodline. Those kids, you cannot tell their grandmother is black. You cannot tell. And this is where the black grandmother in the closet comes in, because I can guarantee you when those kids grow up, they're going to completely erase their black grandmother. Oh, well, we have a black grandmother in the closet. They're going to erase her. Because those kids looking 100% Mexican, they're going to turn around and then marry right back into the Latino race. Taking our genes with them, giving these Latino women the behinds that they need, the melanin that they need to sustain life on this planet, the thick lips to draw in these black men. And then this is the way they're able to sustain life on this planet. This is the way they're able to draw in black men, because they're really an eighth black. Most of Latinos, a lot of them are 10 to, I would say, your average Mexican is about 10% black if we're going back to the slavery days. 10% or less. So anywhere from 5 to about 10%. And 10% the highest if they haven't had anyone in their family that has bred back into the black race since slavery. Their chances of black blood are anywhere from 5 to 10%. Okay, so that's where they get those shapes from. All of that, even though they're only 7% or anywhere from 5 to 7 to 10% black, that's where they're getting them thick lips from, the shapes that they have, the hips, the butts that they got. That all comes from that black blood from back during the slavery era. That's how they're able to attract black men. That's where that's coming in at. So that's how they're getting those features that everyone thinks is Latina. That's coming from black people from back during the slavery days. Because their lips typically were not thick. They might have had hips, maybe. That's maybe theirs. But as far as the butts go, that's coming from the slavery era. Okay? So that's how a lot of black men, that's why a lot of them are attracted to Latina girls, because they're really attracted to those black features that they're getting from back during the slavery era when people heavily was race mixing throughout Mexico. So my friend's granddaughter, she has a grandson and a granddaughter. That granddaughter will probably grow up to have thick lips and a butt. She's getting that from her black grandmother in the closet, who she probably won't claim. As soon as she gets old enough, in secrecy, she'll put that grandmother in the closet and marry back into her race, carrying our features. And probably racist all at the same time. You see how this shit works? So see, black people are not, they're really only causing a lot of division when they marry outside the race. Because you're not doing but carrying our genes into the bloodline of your enemies. And this is what causes their daughters to become attractive to you, to black men. Then they see black women as competition, when it's black women is where they get their genes from. So you see how you're creating your enemies out of your own DNA, and then they turn around and become a competition for black women in the future? But if we get robots in the future, that'll cut back on a lot of this competition. Because then, I can't see black women really producing all that much once these robots come out on the market. I think a lot of black women will go for robots and probably eventually just die off, because why would you keep breeding into a world that sees you as inferior but yet cherishes your bloodline and your features and your behavioral patterns but can't stand you? Just about every mulatto man that I know is married to a Latino girl. And they act like they can't. They act like a lot of them can't stand mulatto girls. They act like a lot of us did something to them. And again, this goes back to the same thing that happened with black men and black women. Same exact thing. Black man produces baby with a white woman. That kid is raised to be racist. And then that kid goes and marries back into the white community carrying our DNA. And it just repeats itself over and over and over again until the bloodline is completely bred out. It just doesn't make sense. And if you bring Africans over here to take the place of black people, which I think that's what they were trying to do, breed out the black American and then bring in black Africans and Haitians and Jamaicans to replace us, the same thing that happened to black Americans is going to turn around and happen to African Americans. They're just going to breed them out with our DNA. They're going to turn around and breed them out too. And then they're finally going to see what black American women had to go through. When you're in an environment where your features are not considered pretty at all, you're placed at the very bottom of the list. Everybody else gets to pick the men in your community while you remain single. You have to fend on your own. You got to support yourself. You have to get out there and get an education, because if you don't, you're going to remain in poverty. And if you do get an education, you're going to have to choose from men that are coming out of prison. You're going to have to marry a lot of these men that have come out of prison, because you get the leftovers from that which came from your womb. You're getting the leftovers. Ain't that some shit? And you're supposed to be welcome these non-black women coming into your community, marrying up all of your men with potential. You're supposed to accept that with a smile on your face. And then if you don't, you're considered a racist. Despite the fact that these people won't even vote black females in political positions just because they're black. They voted for Obama, but they won't vote for Kamala. She's a female. She's a black female. Regardless that she's mixed race, they don't care about that, because as far as they're concerned, she's 100% black. But it was okay for Obama to become a president. They're fine with that. That's a black man. Can't stand that black woman, though. It's just amazing. And what if black women just stopped having sons? What's going to become of the planet? Because if she can't produce her own men and have them produce back into the community, eventually this whole planet's going to be bred out. Then there's not going to be no melanin. Then what? How are you going to sustain life? I'm talking to the white race. How are you going to sustain life if you breed out the whole fucking black race? Well, I guess what they'll do is, once it becomes out of hand, then they'll go ahead and start the segregation back again, like they're trying to do with a certain person in office. I guess they'll go ahead and implement resegregation. I guess they're not going to have any other choice, because white and Hispanic women can't seem to keep themselves with the men from their own community. They're not attracted to them. So the only thing to stop it would be to bring about segregation again. But as I have said, the better thing to do, I think, would be to just give black people reparations so that they can leave the United States. I would have been gone. You wouldn't have to ask me twice. I wouldn't want to live in a nation where my daughters can't even marry men from their own community because they're seen as bottom shelf women just because of their features and their skin tone. Even if they're mixed race, they're seen as second-class citizens. Because mixed race girls are not getting married like that either. White and Hispanic women have priority over biracial women. It's always been like that. Because black men have such a self-hatred of themselves that it's beyond comprehension. Instead of just going to school and competing with white men that way, they go and take their women and breed themselves out, which doesn't make sense to me. But I guess when you don't like your own features and you want your sons to marry anything non-black, I guess that's what you do. But it seems to me like the best thing for black women to do, if you want to maintain your black genes, would be just to go back to Africa. There's no other way around it. Or go to a Caribbean island where there's a lot of black people, or Brazil or something like that. Guyana, anywhere where there's a large black community would probably be in your best interest. And even in these other communities, you're still going to have to compete with white women still, but at least your chances of getting married in a place like Brazil would be a much higher chance than here in the United States, when you're having to compete with white women, Hispanic women, Asian women, Arabian women. And these women are getting online, making videos, telling their women to come into your community and take all your men. And they're trying to make you look really bad, like this girl named Soraya. She's from Turkey. She goes out of her way to promote interracial race mixing amongst any non-black racial group to black men. Now, she's married to a felon because that's the best she could do. I guess she tried to get a college graduate and couldn't do it. So she actually went and got a felon. And now she's trying to promote interracial race mixing to non-black women. And most of her videos, she's down talking black women in a very demeaning way. She's trying to compare East European women to black women. Now, Eastern European women, a lot of them are raised in a Middle Eastern environment. So they're coming from a very controlled society where religion has a great deal to do with the taming of their women. And she's trying to compare her patriarchal society with American black women who come from a society where we grew up in captivity. She's trying to compare her women with our women, and we don't come from the same background. She comes from a very controlled background where religion had everything to do with the shaping of her society. Religion and patriarchal laws that were made in Turkey and within the Islamic society. She's trying to compare her people with our people when we come from an enslaved, captive background, completely uncontrolled, controlled by our enemies, and she's trying to compare her people with our people. Now, how much sense does that make? When we have no control over our environment, and she's trying to compare her controlled society with black American women. She's trying to make it seem like we're not marriage material because she's trying to really compare her women with women from Blackistan. She's not comparing her women with women like me who are educated. Because, see, she can't compete with me. I would probably be able to take her felon away from her if he saw me. I'm pretty sure of it, because she don't really look like much of nothing. But I'm just saying that what she's doing is very unfair, because we don't have any control of what goes on over here in the United States. We don't own nothing. We don't have nothing. We don't have any kind of power. We can't possess any kind of power. We don't own any banks. So how is she going to compare her women with our women? How fair is that? And we're coming out of slavery where we weren't even given reparations. We weren't even given any type of psychological therapy to help us get out of this. We have a lot of generational poverty within our community. We have a lot of generational mental illness. We have a lot of generational curses, and she's trying to compare a controlled society with our society. Really? Go ahead and leave your comments in the comment section, and I will talk to you guys in a later video. Thank you.